Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today we are going to be reacting to the Athletics' Dane Brugler's two-round Steelers mock draft. Two picks for the black and gold that we're going to be reacting to today. Got my full scouting reports on the two players that Dane has the black and gold taking in the first two rounds of the NFL draft. And this is our first draft video for the 2025 NFL draft season, guys. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now for extensive Steelers draft content. We are going to be doing a bunch of player analysis, scouting reports, positional rankings, draft targets, and then, of course, weekly Steelers mock drafts once we really get into draft season here. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button so you always know what the latest rumors are surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers, all the top prospects, and the positions of need for the black and gold this spring. So the picks that are going to be discussed on today's show, round one, pick 21, is where the Steelers will be picking in the first round of the 2025 NFL draft. Then round two, they'll be picking at pick number 52. And really, these two picks will be huge for Omar, the Steelers GM, this offseason. This is a roster that I think really needs a nice replenishment of young talent. And he's done a good job these last 2 years, but if he can really knock these first two picks out of the park yet again, I think that the Steelers are going to be set up for success for a very long time. So without further ado, let's unveil who Dane Brugler has the Steelers taking in round one in his first NFL mock draft, and it is Ohio State wide receiver Emeka Egbuka, somebody that's going to be playing in the national championship game next Monday. And, you know, this is somebody that I am a big fan of. I really like this pick. This is what Dane had to say about taking Egbuka at number 21 overall. The Steelers have had mixed results betting on talented yet undisciplined receivers in the early rounds. It's time to invest in a pass catcher such as Egbuka, who might not have a sky-high ceiling but already plays with a pro-level skill set and would be a dependable target for the next decade. And I would really like this pick, guys. I think that he is somebody that brings some versatility to the table, and I think that he is exactly what the Steelers are missing in their current wide receiver room. And, you know, I think that Egbuka is somebody that has a ton of experience. He's going to be coming in it's kind of an older prospect, honestly, guys. He's going to be 22 years old here. He does bring some good size to the table at 6'1", 205 pounds. He played mostly in the slot for the Buckeyes, but this year he did get some playing time on the outside, and I think that he played pretty darn well on the outside this year compared to what he was doing in previous seasons, mostly from the slot. But he can play either in the league, in my opinion. He's probably not a true X receiver. He's probably more of a Z receiver if he's playing on the outside, but you can also make him a slot technician if that's what you want. And I think that he's a very safe pick in the first round for the Pittsburgh Steelers if they want to pair him with the uber-talented George Pickens, who currently plays the X position for the Steelers. You take a look at my scouting report. He is a route-running technician. He's got some really good short area quickness. He's very smart finding the soft spots and zones, all these different things that pro receivers need to be able to do at a high level. Egbuka is going to get open consistently at the next level. Also, he's got experience being a kick return man, and he's really good after the catch. He's got really good vision, really good instincts with the ball in his hands. And speaking of his hands, he does catch the ball away from his body, catches it with his hands. He doesn't body catch it too often or anything like that. He can snatch that ball right out of the air. That's something that I liked from Roman Wilson's tape out of Michigan last year. And Egbuka has that trait as well. And I love his competitive toughness. He might not be like the most dominant run blocker in the world from the wide receiver position, but in Arthur Smith's offense, you have to at least try as a wide receiver when it comes to blocking. Egbuka is going to give you that consistent competitive toughness. But the cons: limited perimeter snaps throughout his college career. So if you're drafting him to be an outside receiver, which the Steelers would most likely would be, they'd be drafting him to be a Z wide receiver. You'd have to feel really good about his ability to transition out there. His catch radius isn't fantastic. He doesn't have the longest arms in the world, so you do have to have an accurate quarterback to put it on him. And then the functional strength is not phenomenal either. He can get bullied down the field with more physical corners, that sort of thing, and he will get beat by more physical corners in terms of blocking them in the run game as well. But he is a very solid number one round grade for me. I think that he is a very easy number one pick for any team drafting in the 20s onward, and I think the Pittsburgh Steelers would honestly really like to have this guy on this team. I think that his versatility to play either on the outside or the inside makes him a very valuable piece to this Steelers offense for many years to come. And he wouldn't be a number one receiver immediately. He'd be more of a number two type of target, but I think he'd be your number two target right away, whether it's George Pickens or some other player in that number one spot next season. And, I do think he has the upside to eventually become potentially even a number one receiver in the National Football League. So this is what your wide receiver room would look like if you get Egbuka in the first round. You'd have George Pickens at wide receiver one, unless you trade him away and bring in like a guy like Devontae Adams or something like that. But Egbuka would probably not be your number one guy to come in. He'd be your number two guy to start on that rookie contract. Then Calvin Austin III, and of course last year's mid-round draft pick Roman Wilson would be rounding out the rest of the wide receiver room. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comment section. Which position do you want the Steelers to prioritize in round one of the draft this year? Let me know down there in the comment section for today's pinned comment. Just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at PrizePicks. When I'm talking about PrizePicks, do me a favor and let me know what position you think the Steelers need to target in round one. And with that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at PrizePicks, which is the best place to get real money sports action all football season long. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more than or less than on at least 2 player stat projections for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. PrizePicks puts their members first, so while withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure, when my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Sign up today and get $50 instantly. When you play just $5, you don't even need to win to receive that $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday, where every Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineup. So, of course, national championship game coming up. We've talked about Emeka Egbuka, who's going to be playing in that football game. I'm a Notre Dame Fighting Irish guy, guys, so I'm going to be cheering for the Irish. But I'm going to take the more on Will Howard passing touchdowns, the less on Riley Leonard passing yards. And I'm going to take the less on Jeremiah Smith receiving yards. I think this is going to be an Egbuka kind of day for the Buckeyes. So download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup when you download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS. PrizePicks, run your game. Then in the second round of Dane Brugler's first Steelers 2-round mock draft here, he has them taking Maxwell, Hairston, cornerback out of Kentucky. And, I like this pick quite a bit as well, man. I think that Hairston is exactly the type of corner that the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking to put on the other side of Joey Porter Jr. And, there's some things about Maxwell's game here that are very similar to Joey Porter Jr.'s. Now, he's not as big as JPJ is. He's a bit smaller, but for a smaller corner, he has really, really long arms. Like, his arms go all the way down to, like, his knees, man. Like, it is absolutely crazy how big of a wingspan this guy has, and it really does help him out as a tackler. It helps him out with his ball skills, knocking balls away. It helps him reach for footballs to be able to get interceptions, and this guy has got incredible instincts. He does a really good job keeping his eyes, reading the quarterback, anticipating where the quarterback's going to go with the football, and then jumping routes. He's really, really good at that. He's really proficient both in man and in zone coverage, so it doesn't matter what defensive scheme is here in Pittsburgh. This guy can be a starting quality number 2 corner on the outside, in my opinion. He's got fluid hips, and he's got a really high motor. Now, the functional strength, he's a smaller guy. He can get bullied around a little bit, so I don't know if he's a true number 1 corner in the league, and doesn't have the best long speed either. His press technique, because of the functional strength, can certainly be hit or miss. But I got a late round 1 / early round 2 grade on him, and I think that he's going to be able to walk into the NFL day 1 and be a legit number 2 starting cornerback on the outside for an NFL franchise. And that's what the Steelers are looking for. They believe in Joey Porter Jr. as their number 1 guy on the outside to handle those X receivers and those bigger bodies. Maxwell Hairston is the type of guy that can go in there and kind of fill the Levi Wallace, the Dante Jackson type of role, where he's a little bit of a smaller cornerback, but he plays very instinctually, goes out and gets interceptions. He's got those long arms to be able to tackle in space. I would absolutely love this pick in round 2 if he is still here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So grade Brugler's mock draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Emeka Egbuka in the first round, then Maxwell Hairston in the second round. Give me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F. For me personally, guys, I'm going to give this an A because I love these two positions. They're definitely positions of need heading into the offseason. And if the Steelers are still looking for that number 2 starting outside corner and they're still looking for their number 2 outside receiver, I think both of these guys fill those roles immediately and they make this football team better. But I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are probably going to address that cornerback position in free agency one way or another. There's a lot of guys that I think can fit in the Steelers defense as that number 2 starting outside corner, and I think the Steelers are going to use some of their cap space in free agency to lock up that spot. There's a lot of different guys on the open market for the Steelers to choose from that I think can fill that number 2 cornerback spot. And all these guys, I think that, these are probably the best cornerbacks on the market, but a lot of them fit what the Steelers are looking for in that number 2 starting outside corner. So I don't know who exactly the Steelers are going to target, but I do think they're going to probably get a mid-level salary type of guy. They're not going to pay too much for a corner, but somebody certainly that's able to fill Dante Jackson's role that he filled this year as the number 2 outside guy in the secondary. So I think that Pittsburgh's going to take probably a running back in either round 1 or round 2. That's what I think is missing from Dane Brugler's first 2-round mock draft. I think that the Steelers are going to let Najee Harris go. I don't think there's enough dynamic, game-changing talent in the running back a free agency market this year like there was last year. You had Josh Jacobs, you had Derrick Henry, you had Saquon Barkley. You don't have those guys in free agency this year. So these are my top running back prospects in the draft, and I think that one of these guys will probably be the number 1 running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers to start their NFL career. Ashton Gianti out of Boise State, if he makes it to Pittsburgh at number 21, I think he's going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler, man. He's just got incredible contact balance. He's got great long speed as well. He's a home run hitter. He can really change this Steelers offense from day one. Omarion Hampton, also very good out of North Carolina. Cam Scadaboo kind of reminds me of the Bus a little bit, man. He's a big guy, runs people over. He's very physical. Dylan Sampson had a phenomenal year with the Volunteers there in Tennessee. And then Caleb Johnson out of Iowa actually reminds me a lot of James Conner. A really physical guy, great vision, good explosiveness as well. Really like Caleb Johnson. If they get any one of these 5 running backs in the first 2 rounds of the draft, guys, I will be a happy camper as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So let me know down there in the comment section, who's your guy at the running back position? What running back do you want the Steelers to bring in to be their number 1 guy in that rotation for the 2025 campaign? Let me know down there in the comment section. I'd love to see Ashton Gianti, but I don't know how realistic that's going to be. You might even have to trade up to get him, and I don't know if I want to do that, honestly, guys, but he would certainly change life here in Pittsburgh, at least from a run game perspective, immediately. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Really do appreciate all of your guys' support. We got so much draft content coming our way here over the next several months. So many mock drafts, all this stuff, getting you guys ready for the big day in Green Bay, where hopefully Omar Khan can knock this draft out of the park like he has the last 2 years. Really do appreciate your guys' support. I'll see you guys later. And until next time, here we go, Steelers.